I wasn't brought up like that. Business is business, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just break business and go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? That's not setting a good precedent in the sport of boxing. It's not setting a bar on how you operate, how you do business. You know what I'm saying? That,
Well, you see that for like that he is chasing.
Well, it's
like
a big
Jake.
concern. It's a big concern. You know why? Because if you think about it this way, one thing you're not going to see in UFC that they're going to go and fight some YouTuber or a YouTuber's going to fight a UFC lightweight.
5'5".
He's tiny, bro.
5'5".
That's
You
what I'm
got
saying.
Jake Paul
He's a
6'1".
little man.
If Jake Paul's tucking up
Move on.
and absorbing punishment,
You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected.
You ducked for money. Those were the stinging words from Lamont Roach Sr. as Gervonta Tank Davis prepared to face Jake Paul.
we got the news just like everybody else, man. It was very surprising to see that announcement, given that we thought we should have had the fight for him next. But, that's the business of boxing, man. Stuff like that takes place, and you got to see what you're going to do going forward with it, you know what I'm saying? So it's unusual, you know what I'm saying, because we had an agreement. So we'll see how that plays out, though, you know what I'm saying, because we were preparing for that bout for months, and got postponed a couple of times, but to see it go somewhere else, you know what I'm saying, that just...
In the build-up to this surprising fight, the boxing world has been buzzing with debate, criticism, and disbelief. To some, this clash feels like a cash grab rather than a step forward in legacy. To others, it's a sign of where boxing is heading in 2025, a mixture of sport and entertainment, where big names collide not just for titles but for pay-per-view numbers.
Hey, they make it work. It's an exhibition for a reason. So, they know what they're doing. And, shout out to Netflix and shout out to both of them, honestly. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the boxing world are kind of upset. I could care less. I think they're going to go out there and make their money. It falls on the number 8 for a reason. They're going to make a lot of money.
Have you got a prediction for that fight?
My prediction? A show.
The criticism started when Davis officially confirmed his showdown with Paul, and Lamont Roach Sr. was quick to accuse him of chasing money over meaningful competition, claiming he was avoiding tougher opponents for an easier payday. The rival's father did not mince his words, suggesting Davis had ducked real challenges just to share the ring with a YouTuber turned boxer. Those words echoed across the boxing scene, sparking debates about whether Davis was protecting his record or simply making a smart financial choice.
It's not good. It's not good for the sport. A lot of people say, oh, money this and money that, but you gotta do business the right way. You know what I'm saying? You got guys on that other side, especially fighters, that take time out of their life, train, you know what I'm saying, get their coaches, their sparring partners, they go different places, travel. They invest a lot of times in their career, and it's a lot. So, when they get back, they get news like that, you know what I'm saying, it does not receive well. So, but we solid. We're gonna stand 10 toes down, man, and we're gonna see what's next for us. I wasn't brought up like that. Business is business, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just break business and go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? That's not setting a good precedent in the sport of boxing. It's not setting a bar on how you operate, how you do business. You know what I'm saying?
The idea of Davis taking on Paul left many fans confused. Gervonta has long been seen as one of boxing's most talented fighters, carrying an undefeated record and 3-weight world championships. On the other side, Jake Paul, despite having improved drastically since his debut, still carries the label of an entertainer first, boxer second. Critics have argued that Davis's decision cheapens his accomplishments. However, some believe the matchup represents the sport's changing landscape, where crossover fights attract bigger audiences than traditional rivalries.
We got Tank getting in the ring with Jake Paul pretty soon. What do you think that, like, what is it?
You know why, it's pro people, a lot of people mad, a lot of people upset, real hardcore boxer fans. But you know what about boxing? I like when it's all said and done and when you guys go off, they go into the next man. Yeah. So if y'all can make a big payday, go get that payday. The sport of boxing don't love you. And that's the problem with this sport. It's like what Jake Paul did, man, it's crazy, but people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby. I'm not mad at it.
for me, and I'm not. I got no.
British star Amir Khan weighed in and made it clear that he thought Davis had chosen Paul for money rather than glory. Khan noted that Davis was stepping away from fighters in his division and chasing an exhibition-style event with Paul. He said the fight reminded him of other spectacles in boxing history that had leaned more toward entertainment than true competition. For Khan, the matchup felt less about who the best boxer was and more about how much money could be generated from spectacle.
A really bad mismatch. And you know what? Whoever the promoter is and that's agreed Gervonta to fight, and whoever the promoter is to fight for Jake Paul to say fight this little man. I mean, that's wrong, man. I mean, that's just like torturing someone. Yeah, I mean, going in there and hurting someone is just not fair on Davis. But like, say you don't know what position Davis is in. I heard that he's been having a lot of legal problems and been arrested a couple of times for a couple of felonies and stuff I've seen with his ex-wife and stuff. So you know what? You don't know what's going through his head. Maybe he just wants to cash up and walk away from the sport. And maybe this is a great opportunity for him where he's seen this fight come up and he's like, fuck it, I'll take it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they're making boxing a joke, really.
It wasn't just Khan who had strong feelings. Heavyweight fighter David Adelai admitted he was lost for words when he heard the announcement. He said he couldn't believe Davis had agreed to fight Paul, especially when so many boxing fans had been hoping for Davis to take on more credible names in his weight class. While he didn't outright dismiss the Paul Davis fight, Adelai clearly questioned its sporting value.
He should beat Jake Paul, shouldn't he?
No, he shouldn't.
But you don't think? Sorry. So, I thought we were all unanimous here. Do you think that
shouldn't?
You think Jake Paul beats Gervonta Davis?
70 pounds is 70 pounds.
Gervonta Davis is very small. 5'5".
He's tiny, bro. That's what I'm
You
saying.
got Jake Paul
He's a little
6'1".
man.
If Jake Paul's tucking up
move on
and absorbing punishment for walking forward, then look, there's a way to run it.
Chael Sonnen, the outspoken former MMA fighter, also gave his opinion. He argued that while critics might laugh at Paul's chances, there's a history in combat sports of so-called mismatches turning into historic nights. Sonnen pointed to examples where fighters dismissed as sideshows had shocked the world. He said that while Davis is the clear favorite, Paul has made a habit of proving doubters wrong. For Sonnen, this fight may not just be a gimmick, it might be another unpredictable twist in boxing's new era.
And Tank is already blinking in this situation. You have one guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay. Now, Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport.
Others compared the matchup to Floyd Mayweather's fight with Conor McGregor. At the same time, many purists had mocked that event, claiming it was a circus that did not belong in serious boxing discussion. Yet it is going on to become one of the most successful pay-per-view events in history. The Paul Davis clash, some analysts say, carries a similar energy. Like Mayweather and McGregor, this fight blends sporting skill with entertainment appeal, attracting fans who might not usually watch boxing. It may not satisfy purists, but it could once again prove that spectacle sells.
If you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30 pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. Like no matter what, and that's exactly what I feel like is gonna happen versus Jake and Tank. Tank's gonna hit him as hard as he wants, but Jake will get one good rib shot. Tank's never felt that. He's never felt a 205 pounder heavyweight hit him in the middle of the ring at a prime fight when it's real. This ain't no sparring match in some back alleyway in Baltimore. This is live in the ring.
The speculation around Gervonta Davis taking on Jake Paul has already been met with plenty of skepticism inside boxing circles. Even Gareth A. Davies scoffed at the idea and dismissed it as nothing more than a ploy. He mocked fans for being gullible enough to buy into the hype, arguing that people were too quick to believe the fight carried real sporting value. For him, the matchup is less about proving greatness and more about selling a show, with fans caught in the middle of a money-driven spectacle.
For Anthony Joshua to fight Jake Paul, but 8 inches in height difference, 7 weight divisions between them, 5 stone, 70 pounds between them. It's a joke. It's a circus fight as opposed to a disgrace of a fight, which was Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. At least you feel in this you've got quite a poor, very big one against a pound-for-pound, brilliant, unbeaten little un.
Eddie Hearn, one of boxing's biggest promoters, didn't shy away from the money topic either. He sent a strong message saying that the purse for Paul versus Davis could be staggering. Hearn explained that fighters, at the end of the day, want to maximize their earnings during their prime years. He acknowledged that while the fight may not make sense from a competitive standpoint, the financial reward is too great to overlook. In his view, even those criticizing Davis now would probably accept such a fight if offered the same payday. He said, "You can't blame Gervonta. Look at it this way, and there is $5 to $7 million to fight Lamont Roach, and it's a 50-50 fight. If you lose, you are totally fuzzed. Or you can get $30 million for an exhibition against Jake Paul. I don't think we should judge." Still, many boxing insiders remain divided. Some argue that Davis's choice sets a dangerous precedent, encouraging top fighters to chase easy matchups instead of defending their titles or seeking the toughest competition. They worry that boxing could lose credibility if more athletes follow this path. Others, however, believe that Davis is simply adapting to the time. With social media influence and crossover appeal now playing huge roles in the sport, ignoring someone like Jake Paul might actually mean missing out on the biggest opportunities.
Yeah, but again, it's the world we're in. If you can get a huge amount of money to fight someone who's never boxed really before, you're going to do it. You know, Floyd Mayweather boxed Logan Paul with a huge weight disparity.
He was done by then. He was done. Like, this is an active world champion.
But it's the world we're in.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. You know, when it comes down to it. It's just like Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather. 2 completely different sports. It was the biggest pay-per-view in recent times, wasn't it? Maybe if ever.
For Jake Paul himself, this fight represents the biggest test of his career. He has fought former UFC champions, other influencers, and mid-level boxers, but Davis is a different breed. Undefeated, powerful, and experienced, Tank Davis is not the type of opponent Jake can overwhelm with sheer confidence. If Paul manages to survive or even put up a competitive performance, it could silence critics once and for all. If he somehow wins, it would send shockwaves through the entire boxing world, rewriting his place in the sport's history. On the flip side, Davis enters the fight with far more to lose. Beating Jake Paul may make him richer, but it does little for his boxing legacy. If he wins, critics will dismiss it as expected. If he loses, however, it could tarnish his entire career. That risk versus reward balance is exactly why so many are questioning his decision.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. Yeah. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. You know, Davis, you know, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen. There's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? You know, there's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks...
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass...
The fight has become more than just a sporting contest. It's a cultural moment. For Davis, it's about money, exposure, and perhaps proving a point that even against entertainers, real boxers will dominate. For Paul, it's about legitimacy, validation, and breaking barriers between entertainment and sport. For fans, it's a chance to witness another chapter in boxing's unpredictable evolution.
Whatever. At first I was like, damn, Tank, like that's kind of crazy, like that's up. But then I started thinking about it throughout the day. I'm thinking about it, I'm seeing the posts and shit, and I'm like, yo, of this shit is guaranteed. Like, none of this shit that we do in life is guaranteed. And it's also not a guarantee that we all gonna be here for a long time. You know what I mean? We all know somebody that died too early. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I know about life, when I hear old heads talk, you ask them about regrets. I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have did that. I wish I could have did this. I wish I could have did that. At the end of the day, man, you taking a shot at some money.
Whether one calls it a circus or a master stroke, one fact is clear. The Paul versus Davis fight has already succeeded in one crucial area. It has everyone talking. From Amir Khan's harsh critique to David Adelai's disbelief, from Sonen's comparisons to Mayweather-McGregor to Eddie Hearn's focus on the purse, the event has captured headlines across the globe.
It's boxing, man. And if it's a show like this, anything goes, anything happens. You know, we expected Mike Tyson to do something, didn't go out that way. Jake Paul's training very hard, so, you know, kudos to both guys. I'm not gonna critique them. You know, only support them.
As fight night draws closer, the noise will only grow louder. Some will tune in to see Davis defend boxing's honor, others to witness if Jake Paul can shock the world. And while the rival's father may still insist Davis ducked real fighters for money, the reality is that both men are stepping into a ring that blends legacy, spectacle, and fortune. In this strange new era of boxing, perhaps that's exactly what defines the sport now. For more breakdowns, reactions, and fight night coverage, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Ring Rivalry, your home for the biggest stories in boxing.